Welcome to Tush Twins, heard exclusively on malcolmpresents.com, a streaming platform heard round the world and beyond. And we do original programming that no one else has. And I have two women that are unique, the Tush Twins.
That's right.
Anyway,
We are
introduce
unique,
yourself,
man.
Max.
So I'm Maxine Faith,
Um,
and you
I'm
are
Rusty, Paula Rose, Auntie Cuckoo, you name it, I'm it.
the redhead.
And a
That's
lot
what
of
The
other
redhead.
names you don't
that's
admit
what
to.
Phil. And so if you didn't get it the first time, we are the Tush Twins. Woo! And also joining us is our other cheek, Malcolm Berman.
Can there be three cheeks?
Yeah, could be, in our brains, in our minds.
Or actually, I'm the cheek watcher.
You're the cheek watcher. Okay. The cheek watcher.
Not washer, watcher.
Watcher, yes, the cheek
I'm a cheek watcher.
I'm a cheek watcher. Watch the cheeks go by.
Cheeks go by.
You see,
Oh
if we could contact Phil in the other world, he probably
Yeah.
could write a song about that.
Absolutely.
Watching cheeks go by,
Watching cheeks go by.
which reminds me of a story. Which
Uh-oh.
everything reminds me of
Okay.
a story.
All right.
But-
We don't have to do any intro other than this. Go ahead,
No,
Malcolm.
I'm
done.
one summer I was somewhere like autumn. I worked next to the New York Public Library on 42nd Street.
Okay.
And what I do is I buy a sandwich. It's beautiful weather. I buy a sandwich, go out and sit on the front steps of the library, by the lions.
Were they sleeping? No. Okay.
And this was, I think it was like August or May. And
that's a difference.
And the women would walk by. And during the winter they had their big coats on. And you couldn't see that they're women because everybody looked the same in overcoats. Now, one day it would be like 70, 80 degrees outside, and you didn't have to wear your coat. But the women didn't take off their sweaters because they were used to the cold weather, so they were wearing their wool sweaters. So all of a sudden I look up from eating, and all of a sudden I see all these women, and I realize they had breasts. They were all covered up during the cold weather, but all of a sudden I looked.
All of a sudden,
anyway,
you started to look, right? What's the end part of the story?
That's a whole story.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay. I don't even know how to respond to that.
I was in my 20s. Tell us about that.
You're a dirty old man. That's
or
what we
Dennis.
know.
Now they'll understand what I'm talking about.
Well, if it was 60 degrees in the winter back then, like now, the groundhog said it would be in early spring. And the temps here in New York and New Jersey it's in the 50s today with the rain. And
right now,
last week the other day it was like 60 almost. And this is
it was 62 by me.
It's February.
Yeah, it was 62 degrees. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if this was true. I haven't heard more of it. They said in Texas it was 95 degrees the other day.
Because they're burning in hell.
Because there's fires. There's fires.
But it was 95 degrees.
There's fires.
They're burning in hell.
There's fires. Yep. I'm not even gonna say because you just already did. So we want to stay away from the fires, and we want to.
Yes. I want everyone to be safe.
Right. We don't want anybody to get hurt or harmed, and that's that. Period. But trying to get to the topic because I know the Rustoli needs to go. I was at the Museum of the City, New York, which is awesome place.
Yes.
And this weekend, and they're doing an exhibit about films that were made and shot in New York, and there's so many of them. And they did an immersive. They had like maybe 20 screens, and you sat in the middle, and they had clips from all of them, and the way they put them together. Whoever did this really knew that. I mean, had to be some incredible editor. And it just for like 15-20 minutes you're totally absorbed in seeing clips from all these movies, including Ghostbusters, King Kong, Taxi Driver, Saturday Night Fever, French Connection, One Fine Day, West Side Story, like tons of them. And then, you know, you'd be in the city. We all, you know, saw movies that were being shot in the city, and they closed the road down. You can't get anything. So I figured let's maybe talk about that and what we experienced in the city when they were shooting movies, and did we
And
get into
TV.
any of them, and TV shows and commercials. So that's where, because, you know, people go to Toronto, you know, a lot of companies go to Toronto because it's like
'Cause
the
it's
fake New
cheaper.
York because it's cheaper. But I was kind of just quickly skimming an article, and it says but there's something special about watching shows set in New York City that are actually filmed in New
Filmed
York
in New York
City,
City.
because for all of the movies, television, magic, there's something that you can't replace about the streets of New York City.
Can't.
And it's, you know, so now there's ones that come to mind recently, as you know, Only Murders in the Building, they had Marvelous Mrs. Maisel shot here, Sex in the City, Ugly Betty, 30 Rock, you know, Broad City with the two crazies, Alana and Abby, you know, that's a nutty show. They and Gossip Girls, I think. And there's a lot of stuff, but also Law and Order,
Law and
films
Order everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So do you have any experiences in your
They've
being there?
even been to Coney Island.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
they've
I see
Only
them in
Murders in the
Coney Island all the
Building.
time.
Only Murders in the Building. They did a whole, you know, half an episode was there. Or
Well, they're
Mhm.
shooting. This lady that lives in the building, June Squibb, is shooting a movie with Scarlett Johansson, and they're shooting now in New York.
oh really?
And she called up and told Anna that they were in Coney Island because she knows I'm
Ah,
from
Oh,
Coney.
cool. That's a
But
nice
anyway,
thing.
some of my favorite when I think of movies in New York, it's not recent, but I was living on the Upper West Side when they were shooting Marathon Man,
Oh right, that's another one. There's
and
so many, I
and
couldn't put them all in.
yeah,
Midnight
and,
Cowboy.
yeah, and
Midnight
that
Cowboy.
yeah, oh Midnight, yeah, that one of my favorite scene from Midnight Cowboy is when Dustin Hoffman crosses the street
Street hits
and
Mm-hmm.
the
the
cab goes
taxi,
His
by,
hits the
car.
car.
Right, right.
and
Wait,
that was
Have
not
we
watching
ever
Midnight.
done that
yeah,
before?
and that was
Me?
not in the script. That
I
was
once
not.
did.
But by the way, that was
Me?
not in the
I
script.
never do anything.
That was not in the script.
No?
I know
That
it
was
It
wasn't.
was
they were shooting
improvised,
the
right,
scene, and he
right.
walked there, and the cab almost hit him,
Oh,
Right.
okay,
and he
right,
improvised that scene, those words.
right, right. I'm sure he got pretty pissed. He didn't want to get hit, you know.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
anyway,
there's
getting back
also
to Marathon Man, which happened to be also Dustin Hoffman. Uh, I was running the Central Park Marathon, Central Park Reservoir,
Reservoir. Mm-hmm.
and they were shooting there. So there's one scene where you
Mm.
see him in the you see him running, and if you look in the long distance, you see me running, the back of me.
Wow.
That's cool. Well, Les Scott was picking me up one day when I was in this working at, I think, the law firm, and or some other job, who knows. And he was picking me up. It was towards like sunset, and he had to go across, it's 42nd Street where the Grace Building is, and the Grace Building
Mm-hmm.
curves, right? It curves. And they stopped him because they were filming Superman was coming from down from that building. That was one of the
Oh,
scenes.
wow.
So they stopped him. They said he can't go. He goes, I need to go get my wife. You can't move. You can't go. But listen, is it okay if we wet your car down and we, you know, take it in the shot? And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they ever used the shot, but he actually was in, you know, he was so excited because he was saying he was part of the Superman set, you know, at that time. And it was, he got really, you know, juiced about it. It was really fun. So people, you know, we see stuff a lot of times in the city. I mean, I remember them filming Sex in the City everywhere, and you would see the trailers.
Everywhere.
They take up blocks and blocks and blocks. They like filming Greenwich Village a lot of the smaller streets, and it doesn't matter if they cause traffic. I mean, the drivers don't mind it, but the people watching don't mind
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So, you know, it's part of the New York, you know, experience to do that.
Well,
So, but
my favorite New York scene is I was living out in California about I don't know, maybe 2 3 months, and I think the movie was Manhattan, shot by Woody Allen.
Oh, yes.
and it opens up with a sunrise in Central Park,
Mm-hmm.
and they have Rhapsody in Blue.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And that's one of
That's
my
just in my
favorite.
head.
That's one of my favorite symphonies. I mean,
Yes.
it captures the pulse of
Just
the
gets
city.
you. Yeah.
It captures the pulse of Manhattan, of New York, so
Mm-hmm.
perfectly.
Right.
Well,
And
my
Right.
favorite, yeah, go ahead.
literally, I thought I'd run out of the theater and take the trip, go to LAX and go back to New York.
There you
I
go.
missed it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to miss.
Annie
What do you,
Hall. My favorite scene is when he's under the tornado, the roller coaster. He was living in that
oh, right,
building,
right.
and that made me so
Uh,
homesick.
it cracked me up when I first
Well,
saw it.
Yeah, it's a true place.
I was living, I was watching that. I was just
I think
laughing.
he got that
I
line
was
from
with you
me.
when you saw it.
Yeah,
And
I
we were,
think I got that. He got that line from me when I was working at WNEW TV. I was friends with this lady whose roommate was dating Woody Allen.
oh,
And
really?
and they say I'm from Coney Island. When I say from Coney Island, people don't realize it's also a residential area. And they looked at me and I said,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I lived on the third merry-go-round from Nathan's." So that was a similar type of reference
I lived
under the
on,
same.
I lived on the carousel and took all the rings and kept them.
We still have a
Really,
bunch.
I did. I not all the rings, but some of it.
Actually, I worked on a carousel for
Right?
one
That
summer.
thing used to come down, the big, you go
The
around a
arm.
few times, then the arm would drop, and you'd have to have a certain way to do it. And you needed two fingers, and you had to just,
Yeah, you have to go like
you had
this
to
and
be
go.
able to just clip it and then pull it, and then put the rings on the other
On your
hand.
fingers.
So you're holding the pole, you're going up and down. It was amazing, classic,
And then they have a
classic.
basket, and
And
after
you
you
throw them in,
throw
and
in the
this lady would
basket,
go. Was it a lady or man who would go throw it in,
yes,
throw your rings
throw it
in,
in.
and we
And
would
I
throw
always kept
rings
one.
in, and we always
But
I
yeah,
kept
but if you
one
kept
too.
captured the golden ring, which was the last
You get
You
a
one,
got a free
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 ride.
ride.
ride. We've gotten free rides many,
You
many
got a lot of
times.
free rides.
I worked on the merry-go-round, and I was finally able to hop off it when it was going.
Oh, you got to that point, yeah.
But one time at the sort of at the end, I hopped off, and I don't know what happened, but I tripped,
Ooh,
You
that
were
and
can't be good.
I
flying.
never got off again because I tripped and I fell and I bruised my hand and
Hmm. That's no fun.
no,
Nope.
and after that I never
Tripping off
tried
the
it again.
merry-go-round is not a good idea. Well, I on this last birthday, my brother and sister-in-law, Roz and Mitch, took me to Lake George. I
Mhm.
didn't realize they were doing this. It just kind of happened. And there's a merry-go-round there. So of
Oh,
course Roz and
cool.
I go on a merry-go-round. And there I am on my birthday on a merry-go-round in Lake George, which was the last place in the world I thought I'd be on my birthday. It was like really funny, but it was fun. We had a good time.
Well,
I love merry-go-rounds.
So do
you're
I.
never too old for a merry-go-round.
Never.
Never.
Who's too
We
old for
used to go all
merry-go-round?
the
No one's ever
time,
too old for merry-go-round. Never.
especially
Nah.
when our parents says, "Do not go there."
Don't go to Coney Island during the teacher strike. Do
Right.
not
Do
go
not
near
go.
there. Do not go to Nathan's. Do not go on any rides. Do not. You are forbidden. Okay, we'll meet at the corner.
Okay.
Bring your bike.
I go to her house first for
Right.
Brighton 7th Street. I go to Maxine's, and then Melanie
Yes, on my
is
block.
on
Right.
your block. We meet
Right.
up, and then we go straight to the boardwalk
Right.
and ride there.
We would
Stop
ride
first at
there.
and we stop at the carousel. We chain our bicycles
We
up.
would chain our bikes, like stupidly chain them, thinking no one would take them. Luckily, no one did,
They didn't.
but
And
yeah,
then we go from there to Nathan's, and then we
right.
play some skee ball, and then we go in the cyclone.
After going to Nathan's, because you
Yes.
needed to, you
Did
had
you
to
ever
eat first as a dare.
did you ever
Yep.
go to the skee ball on the boardwalk where they had one side was a regular skee ball and the other side they had sort of a huge skee ball, it was like
Oh,
twice the size or three times the size of the regular skee
No, I
ball.
don't remember that
I don't
one.
remember that either. Yeah. I
'Cause
didn't.
we used to go to the one,
There was one
right by
down.
Nathan's.
It was near Nathan's. There was the bumper
Yeah.
This was
cars,
like on 19th or
El
20th.
Dorado bumper cars.
El Dorado bumper cars. Just
We used to
every
do that.
every chiropractor's dream ride.
Mm. Mm. But,
Maybe.
what other movies did you like that were shot in New York?
Well, of course, the famous Harry Met Sally, the Katz's Deli
Yes.
scene. I'll have what she's
I'll
having.
have what she's having.
That was Rob
Mhm.
Reiner's mom, actually,
Yeah.
who actually did that. And you are friends with, are they still owning that, or is it somebody else now?
Yes, well, you remember,
Your neighbor.
Ed Austin, he was my neighbor, and he
Mhm.
owned it, but he retired, but his nephews and his
Oh.
brother's kids are all running it now.
Oh,
Oh.
He
so,
goes in like once a week, I heard.
oh,
Yeah, and of course,
I keep missing him.
who could
You
forget
met him.
Rosemary's Baby?
Mhm.
Shot in the
Rosemary's
El
Baby.
Dorado.
Oh yeah, that
The-
scared the crap out of me, that movie.
the apartment with Jack Lemmon, which was which
Shirley
famous
MacLaine.
director. What a fabulous, fabulous. I watched that movie on an airplane, because strangely. Then there was Big, when they go to FAO Schwartz.
Yes,
Oh yeah, I love
Annie
that scene
Hall.
where they do the
I have my ketchup bottle
the
from
piano.
Big. That piano's great.
A giant ketchup bottle. The French Connection, which
Oh, in the
Les
Bronx, that was
loves
great.
that. It goes on a parkway in Westchester also. So we,
Oh, I like the best, one of the best chase scenes where
Yeah.
he's driving
Yeah,
under the
it
L.
is.
absolutely.
I think that
fabulous.
was Brooklyn. I'm not sure, but I think that might have
That
been
is Brooklyn.
That is Brooklyn. Yeah,
McDonald Avenue.
something like
Mhm.
that. And then there's Saturday Night Fever, of course,
Oh.
which was Brooklyn.
Stay alive.
Yep. And we watched that bridge. They built it from the middle out.
Mm-hmm.
We would, go on our bikes. We
I
watched
have
that
pictures
bridge.
of it.
We have pictures of the bridge in the middle. I don't know how they
Are
did
you
that.
talking about the Verrazano?
The Verrazano Bridge,
Verrazano.
yeah. It
Or
was,
as my father would call it, the
The-
Vezerano.
my dad would call it the Vezerano. He would-
Vezerano, that's the Brooklyn
Vezerano Bridge.
Vezerano.
Go to the Vezerano.
Well,
And
I
then,
was living by Seagate in Coney Island. They had such a great view.
right.
Oh,
We
God.
saw it being built.
Was it on the town that they had Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly?
Yes,
Was that
that
the
was
one?
in the, yes.
I know they shot some things, in the city. One Fine Day with George Clooney
Yes.
has
Mhm.
music. One Fine Day.
Michelle Pfeiffer, yes.
People keep watching that film. Thank you.
Yes, please, keep watching.
Just keep watching that
Please.
movie. Just watch that movie as much as you want. Of course,
Yeah.
West Side Story.
I want to live in America.
I
Okay,
mean,
but me in
the old one and
America.
the newer version.
I
which-
like the new
yeah.
version, but nothing is
Nothing
as great
compares
as
to
the
the
original.
No.
Nothing.
No.
There's
Eh, eh, eh.
nothing.
What's the one with George Peppard and
Breakfast at
Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Tiffany's.
Breakfast at
That was
Tiffany's.
one of my all-time favorite movies.
Do the Right Thing.
Love that movie.
Do the Right Thing. Mr. Spike
It's
Lee.
Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Spike, he loves filming. He films in New York. He
Right.
loves New
New
York.
York.
He's a
Well,
crazy
he
Knicks
loves
fan.
he loves to go to the Knick game.
Yeah, he goes to
And
the
the
Knicks game.
TV commercials that they filmed in New York.
Mm-hmm. Tons of
And
them.
TV shows they filmed in New
Well,
York.
TV was all in New York for beginning.
A lot of stuff in New York that they do. I mean, when we were kids, we were on Just for Fun with
Yes, with Sonny
Wonderama, with
Fox.
Sonny Fox. We used to call him Funny Socks.
Yes, we did.
As I told you,
funny-
I used to work at those shows.
Right.
I
The
So
TV
know.
shows at WNEW-TV.
I wonder if we were
I bought
there.
I bought all the props. I'd get like
Wow.
the scripts a few weeks ahead of time.
We
Wow.
were there when Yogi Berra was teaching us how to hit baseballs.
Right. I remember there
Was
were
the
like
guest on there, and I was
the plastic
greatest-
bats and the wiffle
Yes.
balls. Yep. I mean,
And I had to
Yogi.
do the tongue twister, which was the worst thing in the world for me to do. Because I
Right,
could
right,
barely
this-
speak properly
Yeah,
with my
right.
accent and my
And your
impediment.
your Brooklyn girlness, your
I
Brooklynese.
used to say, I had to say Cynthia Smith 5
Cynthia.
times fast. And I couldn't do it.
Now, how
Couldn't
about
do it.
Fifth to Thursday
Cynthia
fell
Smith, Cynthia
seashells
Smith,
of the
Cynthia
seashore.
Smith.
Cynthia Smith, Cynthia Smith, Cynthia
Seashells by the
Smith.
seashore.
But now I could do it.
You could do it
How
because
about-
now
how
you're
about-
Say
now you're a
STR
big
straight.
girl.
How about Betty Botter bought a bit of butter, but the bit of butter made her batter bitter. So Betty
Oh,
Botter bought a bit of better butter. It
okay.
made
The
her
next
batter better.
show, we're gonna pick like three
Tongue
each.
twisters.
We're gonna do tongue twister. Tush twins do tongue twisters. That sounds weird.
Tush twin, tush twin, tush twin, tush twin,
Oh
twin.
God, no! This has a very back
No, no,
end,
no.
a back end connotation. Ha ha. Anyway,
I tell you that I know I tell the story over here.
see, it took you 5 seconds at least to get that. I don't know.
Old.
I don't know. I don't think my mother would like me hanging out with women like you.
With the, we're
Couldn't
bad.
blame her.
She always warned me.
That
We were
well,
the most purest of all our
She
friends,
always warned me
especially
yes,
that
me. I
me
knew
too.
nothing.
she
Yeah, I know
warned me about
you.
older women.
Me and you, we're like the naive.
We were so
We were
silly
the
and
last to
naive.
be, on the list. Like,
I was the very
except for you,
last.
except again as we spoke about your brother's card deck.
Yes,
Other
the
than
deck, but
that,
I was the
that gave us
last.
a rude awakening. A rude awakening.
I waited till I got married
Yeah,
the first
well,
time.
To play cards.
Excuse me, I'm an asshole. I'm an
oops.
idiot.
Yeah, I
But I
did
would
it
have
though.
known.
But the
uh,
question is, have you made up for lost time?
yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
The answer would be, I would assume, yes.
I wouldn't answer
Anyway,
that. I take the Fifth
I'm not gonna
Amendment.
say anything. You get in trouble. So
Yeah.
wait, so now they also we're talking about commercials, that they do a lot of commercials in the city. I didn't have any picked out. I know there's so many crazy commercials now, and people who do them. Flo from Progressive, the farmer, J.K.
Mhm.
Simmons Farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. I like that one. Jake, State Farm, Alt State, the crazy guy getting hurt. I don't like
Mhm.
those ones. I'm not a fan. But anyway, I don't know if any were filmed in New York, but we did some commercials. You did a
I
commercial.
did.
You told me that you got a
I
check.
got a check recently, a residual from AMC. They asked people to make believe they're part of people on the street. And
Mhm.
they asked me what are my favorite movies. And I said Westerns. And I started singing the theme songs and humming them. And they thought it was hysterical. It's all,
Mhm.
you were there when I did it.
Right. It was fun
It
because you're
was so
nuts.
funny. And I actually got
They had to,
residual.
yeah, she had to sign off. They had to give, her a little sign, we can use your
Well,
stuff.
I was in
Sign off. But yeah, but that's how you got residuals. If you didn't sign off to do it, they
I
wouldn't give
know,
it.
but I also
So-
was in the union back then. I'm not in the
Right,
union anymore.
right. Well,
But I've done TV. I've done local TV commercials. I did DoorDash commercials. The DoorDash commercial I shot in Paramus, New Jersey,
so that was in New York.
in the mall.
No. Oh God.
Well, I
I
used to
remember the Ooh La La Sassoon Jean
Ooh la
commercial.
la.
La la, Sasson.
I did a commercial for M&E Toys because my brothers did a lot of commercials. The Tokens did a lot of commercials. And I
Mhm.
did the polychord electric model organ, and mostly it's just my hands because
Yes.
they wanted to focus in on the keyboard and the music and the person playing, and they couldn't get a long shot. They wanted to go in.
Sure.
But
I
but I
remember.
did I was dancing a little, but I didn't see myself. But I do see my hands, and you can pull it up on Google. It's like really funny.
Yeah.
And
Yes, Chatty Cathy.
Mitch was dancing, and I caught Mitch dancing, and they made him wear a suit. It was so funny. And then they did, any place can be a soda fountain, great shakes. They did Eastern number one to the sun, Pan Am.
Now, so go to your
Mm.
store and get great shakes.
Well, 100 years ago, I used to produce commercials
Right.
for an agency called Daniel and Charles.
Really?
Yeah, and
Well,
then for a 30-second commercial, we'd shoot a whole day,
yeah, yeah.
and then we'd go into the editing room and we'd put it on 2-inch tape. And the 2-inch tape was it was big of you took up a whole wall, the tape
Mhm.
machine.
Right. And they would tape things together. Now it's just
Oh,
AI is going to completely
You don't
change
need
that.
people.
Completely change it. I mean,
that's what we used to do. We used to put reduce it to 16 millimeter and put it on a moviola. And you'd sort of like you'd cut the film and
They
then
don't do that
splice it
anymore.
together. Same thing
well,
with audio tape for radio, and
I
they
know
hit it on the
it's
machine and go,
not enough.
you know,
Now
you turned
it's
it.
a whole new
Yeah.
ball game.
No,
But when I did that commercial, it was shot in New York in the city, and it was shot in the beginning of January, and it was freezing. And they needed someone from the group of us because it was a bunch of kids. They were shooting a Secret Sam commercial,
Oh,
and
I
they
remember
wanted
that.
someone to go there. And then they kind of looked at me, and then my brother was with me. They go, "Can we use your sister to do this?" So, and one of the kids was like a kid who was always in commercials. He was like adorable. And what did we do on the set? Someone's tooth fell out. We put it in a glass of Coke because someone said, "It's going to disintegrate in the Coke." This is the dumb things. It was not disintegrating. It was starting to get frozen because we were outdoors and it was 9 degrees. They want,
Oof.
and I'm like, I'm not saying it anymore. I said it like a few times. I said, I told Mitch, can't they use something? I was like 10 or 11. And but that segment alone was outside. It took hours. We were all
Yeah,
freezing
believe
our
me, I
ass off.
know.
We were all freezing.
Believe
But
me, I know those things. Done
so
them. I used to do all kinds of voiceovers and stuff many, 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 many years ago. But it was
many,
so nice to get a check for $400.
but I wonder whether they still do this today. Call Manhattan the city. Yeah,
yes.
we're Brooklynites, and you never call Brooklyn the city. Where are you from? From Brooklyn.
No.
If you're
Manhattan
from
is the
Manhattan, I'm
city.
from the city, or you're
Yes.
going to the city. For a
Definitely
while,
still.
It is
It,
still.
it's
when I was
it's always
working
that. It'll
when I
never
was
change.
working in TV, back when uh, I refer to Manhattan as I'm going into town because I noticed that
Yeah.
everybody that was from out of New York, when they went to Manhattan, they went to town. They didn't call it the city; they called it town.
Hmm.
So I figured that
Really?
all the executives I knew, were from all out of New York.
Right, because they live in houses in the suburbs.
No, 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 no.
Well,
I mean,
Maxine and I
they were
used
born in
to
different
go.
they were born in different states, and they called when in Manhattan they were going to town. So I sort of like
No.
emulated them.
No. What were you
Max
gonna
and I
say?
used to call the town Bug Tussle.
Right. And we would stand in front of the Empire State Building and
Yep.
ask, "Where's the Empire State
Empire
Building?"
State
And
Building.
then they'd say, "Look up," and we go,
Oh
"Oh
my
my,
God.
back in Bug Tussle, they got nothing
Tussle.
like
Oh,
this."
by the way, we missed that one great film with Cary Grant.
Oh, the
It was
one where
the
you're supposed to go to the
top of the
Empire State
right
Building.
top of the Empire State Building.
The
What was the
affair.
name?
The
The
affair, I think.
affair.
Was it?
Uh,
I don't know.
was it the love affair or
It was the affair. The
an
love
affair
affair. I
to
just
We'd
an
have to
remember
affair
the
look it up.
affair.
I don't know.
an affair
Affair
to
to
remember.
remember.
An
An
affair to
affair to remember.
remember.
I love that
I
movie.
think that's
Oh my
it.
I mean,
God, that's one of
they
the
had
best.
that song was great. Or a love affair was a marvelous thing that we could.
That's a
Wow.
great movie.
That's
But anything Cary Grant does.
Yeah. Well, he was
but
he was
now
up
they have
up there
that
in
thing
my
that
book.
you didn't know. Cary Grant was AC/DC.
Yeah. Was that
Yeah,
real? He went both ways?
yeah, which was
Okay.
never I mean,
Well,
it's
they
just
would
fairly
hide that.
recent.
Like Rock Hudson and Doris Day were
Hudson
a
was
thing,
hidden
but
till,
Rock
yeah.
Hudson, yeah, his rock didn't go to Doris.
No, they were. And
I
then
don't
they
think
have all
so.
these things on Facebook now. They have the story, and they have the actresses who slept with all their leading men,
Okay.
and
That's
and the
nothing
and the
new.
actresses that were
The
two-way
only
or
leading
three-way.
man I want to sleep with is here's mine.
Mine,
Mine.
mine,
Mine.
mine,
Mine. 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 Mine.
mine, 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 mine.
Mine.
We like Pierce Brosnan. He's way up
Pierce.
there. Pierce Brosnan is very up
Ah,
there in our
he's so
books.
handsome.
He's adorable.
Not bad for 5'2".
You know,
He's not
five
5'2".
2.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I
Don't
wouldn't
say
care.
that.
The big thing always used
Egyptians.
to be Alan Ladd was about 5'6", 5'7", and when he
I
did
know.
some,
He's put him in a box.
yeah, stood on a box. That was
He stood on a box. Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
And Gregory Peck was my other favorite actor.
Gregory
Fantastic
Peck's a great
actor.
actor.
Oh, so handsome.
No,
And
that's the
yeah,
one that keeps on. What's the one with an attorney? Attica Finch.
Attica Finch. Yes.
Right.
What's the name of the movie?
Why are we
Quick.
blissing on the movie? It was
I
also
Okay.
a
know, it's
show.
like,
It was a show,
oh
To Kill a
my
Mockingbird.
God,
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
To Kill a
To Kill a
Mockingbird.
I
Mockingbird,
think
yeah.
I think it might be on Broadway or just off Broadway
It
now.
was on
It
Broadway.
was on
It,
Broadway for a
it
while.
won Tonys. I mean, I
Mhm.
wanted to see it. I didn't get
Jeff
to see it.
Daniels was in
Right.
it.
Jeff
Jeff Dan-
Daniels was fantastic.
Yes.
They said he was amazing in it, and I hope he comes back and they do it again. I mean, Aaron
And
Sorkin did the play. He he did the playwright. He wrote that
Oh,
from
he's a
the
fantastic writer.
movie and the book. He's amazing, and they said it was
Which I've been
Broadway's
watching.
another thing. It's the most beautiful place to go to.
right. Well, Broadway is there is no place on earth
This is the thing. What I've been watching,
like Broadway. Not one
rewatching.
place. London, 2 blocks. Sorry, it doesn't count. I mean, it counts a little, but there's nothing close to it anywhere.
Nothing
No,
like
Broadway
Broadway.
is it?
There
But
is unique, and the city better keep that going. Mayors better make sure that's okay.
I was just doing a binge watch on Suits.
One of
Well,
my
look at that.
favorite shows. I've seen every
Talking-
single episode.
It's
Talking
supposed to be in
about-
New York, but they film in Toronto.
No,
Yeah, they
they
do.
were outside New York and they were walking the
They
streets.
do some shooting in New York, but they film
Basically,
That
what
might
I
have been the
read,
interior scenes. I don't know.
when I was reading up on Suits, they said most of it's filmed in Toronto.
No, I think
they would come in and do some
Or maybe they
shots.
do like exterior shots.
exterior shots were
Mhm.
all Manhattan.
Okay.
I
It's
don't
one of
know.
my favorite
Wait.
shows.
Toronto, there's things that you can in Toronto that looks very much like New
Yeah,
York.
no, I could recognize certain landmarks, when they do the
Well, if it's a landmark, yeah, if they'll do they'll
Well,
do
another
they
great
do
show-
exteriors and then they shoot.
But
in-
another great show with Matt Boomer was White Collar. They shot that in New York.
Mhm.
That was an amazing show.
Really,
But
I didn't see
anyway,
that one.
my children,
Oh, well, this
It's
is you
time
can
to
go
say
on
goodbye.
and on and on with this topic.
leave?
we could go.
can
Well,
go- can we-
I
Can
feel
we
very,
leave now?
I feel very paternal with you girls.
Yes,
Oh,
well,
thank you.
to me, I feel more brotherly actually.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I feel more like big brotherly.
Oh,
Then I'm a
he's
big brother,
watching.
you're
He's
a big brother.
watching.
No, you're the big brother.
Oh,
You're
okay.
like a big brother.
Well, that's
So-
because you associate me with Phil a lot.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's how we
but-
that's how we originally got in touch with each other, through Phil.
Exactly. It was Phil. You see that?
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
But
All
anyway,
right.
guys, you have a good week.
All
and
right.
remember-
Shalom.
Huh?
And remember, I think it's tomorrow is
Leap day.
year.
Leap Day.
So we're taping this day before Leap
Day
Day.
before Leap.
And I'll mention one thing. I'm just mentioning my second dad up there.
Mhm.
I remember.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So
Thank you.
enjoy tomorrow, because
Maddie.
it really doesn't count.
Right.
So
Right.
you can do
Okay.
anything.
You can do anything you want tomorrow.
Whatever you do tomorrow is forgiven, because
It's
3 years.
Well,
4
happy
years.
birthday, Wandy. It's his
Right.
birthday tomorrow.
Oh,
And
Bye.
he's 40, but he's really 10, if you don't
Oh.
count the leap year.
okay. Well, most men are. There you go. How to get that in.
Have fun, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Shalom.
Ciao. Shalom.
Maine.
Oh.